All right, one thing that is making this particular postseason scarily similar to last postseason is the discussion that we are having around Anthony Edwards, right? Like literally a year later, the same conversations we were having about Anthony Edwards in the playoffs last year is the exact same conversation we're having about Anthony Edwards this year. Obviously, the thing we're talking about the most as NBA fans, there's this debate about who the next face of the league should be. And it makes sense to have this conversation because LeBron James is nearing the end of his career. Hell, he can end up hanging it all up this particular offseason and calling it quits, right? We don't know the day or the hour when LeBron is going to be over with. And the thing is, he deserves it. He's been playing the game for a very long time. This is 20 plus years. The man is 40 years old. He deserves it, right? And we don't know when that's going to be, but we know that we're at the end stages of the LeBron James era. Kevin Durant is nearing the end of his career as well. I'm not saying he's going to retire this season or next season, but this is no longer prime Kevin Durant. He's still playing at a high level, but this is not prime KD anymore. So guys are slowly, I said slowly starting to get phased out. Those guys that were the best players in the league maybe 5-6 seasons ago, the guys that we looked at as the faces of the league back then, they are slowly being phased out. So it makes sense as fans for us to have this discussion about who the next face of basketball should be. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the league, right? I don't think too many people dispute that at this point, but are we ready to say that he is the face of basketball? No. Why? Because there are a lot of other factors that go into being the face of basketball. A big one is personality, right? I don't really care which way you cut the cake. Personality is a massive factor when you're looking at face of the league. And while Nikola Jokic is a lethal player, one of the best centers that we have ever seen, face of the league, probably not. So that's where Anthony Edwards comes in. He has so many things that are working right now in his favor. For one, there is a way in which he plays the game of basketball that is extremely aesthetically appealing, right? He is lightning quick at his size and height. He is ridiculously athletic. He has had some of the best dunks, the most iconic dunks and over the rim plays over the last couple of seasons. There's a smoothness to his game. There's a smoothness to his jumper. He has a very aesthetically pleasing style of play. We fall in love, especially with elite level perimeter players. And Anthony Edwards just has one of the most appealing play styles out of any perimeter player / wing across the entire league. There is also what he's doing in the postseason. You cannot be the face of basketball without having iconic postseason moments. If you're looking at this guy over the last two postseasons, he's taken out Nikola Jokic, taken out Kevin Durant, and just this postseason took out LeBron James. And if the Warriors end up winning their game 7 against the Rockets and they match up against the Wolves in that second round, there you have potential to take out Stephen Curry, which is going to be one of those stories that you're going to talk about like 5-10 years down the road. You're going to look at the beginning of Anthony Edwards as the best player in the league or the face of the league, and you're going to look at this moment where he eliminates these superstar level players in the playoffs. So he has that going for him. He has these iconic playoff moments going for him. I mentioned it as well. The branding aspect of Anthony Edwards. There's both how he acts and how the team and his marketing team and his people are putting him out there. So let's talk about how he acts. He has all of the personality traits that you would want out of an NBA superstar. 100%. He's talking trash. He's backing it up. And at the exact same time, he's finding this balance of doing it all in a respectful manner. He's not saying ridiculous stuff like, I think I'm flat out better than LeBron James, right? And not being able to back it up. He's saying stuff. He's being very competitive while respecting the guys. And I think that's why a lot of guys are hated versus loved when they decide to take that really ultra competitive approach, is because sometimes the competitive approach does not come with respect, right? And that's something that Anthony Edwards does at a high level. Is yes, he is ultra competitive. And yes, he may truly believe he's better than some guys, but he knows how to find that medium between being ridiculously competitive and also maintaining that respect for opponents. That is a characteristic that Jordan had. That is a characteristic that Kobe Bryant had. That is a characteristic that a lot of all-time greats had, where they were ultra competitive, but there was still this outward respect for the guys they were competing against. So we're going to see him trash talk Kevin Durant after giving him multiple buckets last year in the playoffs, but at the exact same time be able to go into a post-game interview and talk about how much he idolized and looked up to Kevin Durant as a basketball player growing up. That's what makes people fall in love with Ant so much from a personality perspective. Is yes, he is ultra competitive. He's going to talk trash. He's going to be expressive, but he's going to go right back afterwards and talk about why he respects his opponents so much. Even when you're talking about the other day when he was talking about Minnesota taking out LA, he's talking about how great he is as a player, obviously, and we saw him coming out the tunnel talking trash, but he still had it in him in a video they were recording to talk about how great Luka and LeBron were as players and how great they were as closers. So again, why we fall in love with Anthony Edwards from a personality perspective is because he finds that happy medium between being ultra competitive and being expressive with that competitive nature while also maintaining that level of respect for his opponents. Finding that balance is just something that we've seen a ton of all-time greats do, and it's something that he's adopted as well. Then there's the branding aspect, right, and what his team is able to do. And I actually talked about this, or actually saw Bima Williams talk about this on Instagram. He talked about how Anthony Edwards' marketing team, especially over at Adidas, how they're building his brand, and they're doing it in a very unique way. They're not just advertising the shoes and the gear, but they are building a world. That's why there is a very similar aesthetic across his different commercials they're running, right? They have like the commercial where they're singing, he's got the whole world in his hands, right? Or there's the commercial they ran last year during the playoffs where he was reading off the playoff receipts. There's the Ice-T commercial where Ice-T is like a police officer and they're utilizing like the dunks that he's had as evidence for the quote unquote murders that he's committed or whatever the case may be, right? Like the way that they have built a world around Anthony Edwards has been extremely interesting. They're not just advertising the shoes. They're doing that while building up a world. They're building up something more than just the product that they're pushing. They're building up something for people to fall in love with, right? And a lot of that, again, is derived from Anthony Edwards' amazing personality. So again, it's not just him individually, but it's the branding, the marketing campaigns around Anthony Edwards that Adidas is putting on, flat out amazing stuff. And again, that's what worked with Jordan. They had genius marketing campaigns around Jordan, genius marketing campaigns around LeBron James, even genius marketing campaigns around Kevin Durant earlier on in his career, right? Especially when you're looking at Nike and the ads they'd run with him. Anthony Edwards, his personality makes you fall in love. But what we've seen from a corporate side of things is how these companies and his team were able to take that, leverage it, and build up an amazing brand. So there are just so many things when you look at Anthony Edwards from a basketball standpoint, from a competitive standpoint, and a personality standpoint, and also from a branding standpoint. So many things have aligned so well with Anthony Edwards. It literally looks like he is being alley-ooped to us as the face of the NBA, and we almost can't run with it. If you were skeptical about Anthony Edwards being the future face of basketball, then you have to put that skepticism to rest at this point because it's right there in front of us. It literally is. You cannot avoid it. There is not a guy who has been pushed so easily as the next face of basketball in like the post Stephen Curry, post prime LeBron era more than Ant. There could be some players here and there, but Ant, the way they've kind of differentiated him and his brand and all of those things has been different. And we haven't seen it like this in the last few years. We've been kind of being in the search of the next face of the league. Now, all of this can be taken away if he is not able to execute in the playoffs moving forward. So while he has this amazing start and they've thrown us this unbelievable alley-oop and have pushed him as the next face of the league, he still has to execute at a high level, right? So when it comes to the playoffs, getting past the second round, which he's already done, getting to the West Finals, which he's already done, but possibly making a finals and a potential championship run. The great thing about the league today and what that means for Ant is things are so wide open. I don't think there is a single team right now that I would look at as the definitive team to beat because the league is so competitive across the board. I think the talent is spread across very well. There is no clear-cut favorite to do anything. He has a great opportunity to win a championship earlier on in his career at 24, at 25. He has a great opportunity to do that because there is no established stronghold or dynasty right now on the league, right? So there's no better time for him to establish himself as a championship guy why than now, where there is no team right now. There's no Golden State Warriors squad where they're just going to blow out everybody in the playoffs for an entire 3 rounds and possibly in the NBA Finals. There's no active dynasty. There's no active super team or team to beat. They probably took out the biggest super team already with the LA Lakers, who had freaking Luka Doncic and LeBron. So I don't think there is a better opportunity for Anthony Edwards to capitalize on all of this with a championship than now, with the way that the league is set, with the way things are really sparsed out, the talent is spread around, there's no clear-cut favorite to do anything. He can definitely take advantage of this. But I say all of this to say, after Ant saying earlier in the season that he didn't want to be the face of basketball, he's making it very hard for us to not look at him that way at this particular point in time. It's all there. He works as the next face of the NBA. Again, still has to execute down the stretch when it comes to postseason wins and potential championship victories. You have to have that if you want to have that title as the best player, the face of the league for a long time. But still, I'm loving where he's at. He's established himself as, I think, the most entertaining player in basketball and one of the most entertaining players in all of sports. We'll see how consistent he's able to be, but this start that he's been off to as far as a playoff performer at the age of 23 or 24 or whatever he's in right now, it's been amazing, and hopefully he can keep it going. But I'm loving the momentum that Anthony Edwards has built for himself at this point in his career.